Hey you guys, what's up? It's me, PhiL again, and I am very excited about this special edition of Kickin' It with PhiL, a heated discussion special edition. It runs all the way from April 9th to May 15th. You don't want to miss it. In this special edition, I get to kick it with every cast member, including the director, Ben Guillory. You don't want to miss it. All of the information is right here, the RobeyTheaterCompany.org. Let's kick it! Woo! Hi you guys, I'm PhiL. Welcome to my channel, Kicking It with PhiL. Like, share, and subscribe, and get that notification bell. Shoo! Look at that. Just wanna know. You remember yesterday. No more games.
You got that, got what? Got milk? No. That dude. Oh, got PhiL. Yeah, got PhiL. Yeah, got PhiL. PhiL. Yeah, got PhiL.
Running class, school and let out. Substitute teacher. Hey you guys, what's up? We're kicking it again, and I am so excited for this new edition because we are getting to interview the whole cast of a heated discussion that is playing right now, Thursday through Saturday at 8 p.m. and a Sunday matinee at 3 p.m. All the details are right here. And on today, I'm excited because we have one of the co-founders, the CEO, and the artistic producing director right here today. And he's even directing the show, and I'm sitting with him today. Give it up for Mr. Ben Guillory.
Hey, PhiL.
Hey man, I'm just so excited to just be here and sit in your presence.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's so much. I mean, I got so many questions. Everybody wants to know everything, how the Robey Theater got started, how you got started, when did the bug bite, all of these different things. And I'll tell you when I first saw you, and I was like, I can't believe I'm actually sitting in front of you. So just tell us right away, how did you get started in this business? Was it at a young age you got bit by the thing and said, I'm gonna do some theater?
Well, I started out as technically as a set builder designer and graduated, so to speak, in an improv and was smitten by the acting bug. And this was 45 years ago
Wow.
in the Bay Area. And so I trained up there at the American Conservatory Theatre for a while and did a lot of theater up there, and then was invited down here to do a play about Paul Robeson, who I had learned to admire, and his whole social consciousness was mine was in sync with his,
Yeah.
and because of his artistry and his activism. And so I did a one-person show, came down here, and basically never left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it was so you started in the back, I mean background was doing stuff, and then you said, and
Yeah.
how did that happen? I mean,
Well, I was looking for a job.
yeah.
I was looking for a job. I was in my early 20s and looking for a job, and a friend said they're hiring down at the theater downtown, and it was a big. The American Conservatory Theatre was one of the largest regional theaters. It was equivalent to the Mark Taper Forum or the CTG here in Los Angeles, and I started working there. And they were doing improv classes one day. I was watching, and they were short, and they said, "Come on," and I did, and it felt good, and they, 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 the, the execs there and the leadership there and the founders there, there wasn't too many of us. They wanted to diversify. This is in the '70s. And they wanted to diversify. They didn't really know how, really, because the work that was offered, the kind of plays that were offered, didn't have us in the consideration for the choices. This was pre-August Wilson.
Wow.
The only play that was really being looked at to be done on that kind of stage was Raisin in the Sun.
Yes.
And there were too many of us in it for them to hire and employ for a season, because the season at the American Conservatory Theatre, ACT at that time, they couldn't fathom what to do with 9 Black actors that might be in Raisin in the Sun, doing everything else from Shakespeare to Moliere to Tennessee Williams, Sam Shepard. We didn't fit then. This was before colorblind casting or what was then deemed non-traditional casting. This was really before diversity was a politically correct word, so to speak. They didn't have a, they really weren't all that interested. That is, they were doing wonderful theater, I have to say. The kind of theater they were doing was some of the best in the country.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a true rep company. You could go to the theater on Tuesday and see Tennessee Williams. On Wednesday, see Shakespeare. On Thursday, you could see Moliere.
Yeah.
On Friday, you could see some experimental work.
Wow.
So, and with basically the same company of actors doing all of that. It was quite a company.
Well, what did they do with the 9 African American actors?
Well, nothing. That was just a suggestion
Yeah.
to do that play, and it had 9 actors in
Okay.
it, 9 African American
Right.
actors in it, and that's why they didn't do it, because there were too many.
Oh, okay.
And they couldn't envision using those
Yeah,
Black
doing that.
actors in other places.
Wow.
That's that they couldn't get past that,
Wow.
and that's the nature of the beast all over.
So you just was, I mean, because you went there for a job, did you find that you were always working, or?
I spent 5 seasons there in their training program, which was a university accredited program. I wasn't interested in university accreditation, but I was interested in the training because I needed to learn some things.
That's right.
And so I spent 3 years in their training program, and they invited me to be a part of the company and to direct the Black Actors Workshop.
Wow.
Which was an arm of it.
Mm.
And that lasted about 3 years. And I did that, and then it went away because of budget cuts.
So when that cutting and things happened, what was your thing that happened? Because a lot of actors, when they lose work or whatever, did you go try to find some other job?
There was a thriving theater community in the Bay Area. Yeah, Black Box.
Wow.
The same as here in Los Angeles, in the sense that, there's over a couple of hundred theaters in this town. Nobody knows that, really, because theater here in Los Angeles is the stepchild of television and film.
Yeah.
So there was plenty to do.
Yeah.
There was plenty to do, and it was actually more diverse in those smaller theaters than it was in the Lord houses.
Were you able to make?
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So have you ever experienced that this idea of, why am I in this and there's no work and I should have tried?
Well, there's always that. There's always about making a living.
Yes.
See, there's work, and one must be a self-starter.
Yeah.
You know about that because you're doing what you're doing. You wound it up, and you make it happen. You figure it out, spit and gum, right? And so I've always been pretty much a self-starter, and there were plenty of other actors who wanted to work, self-starters. And Danny and I knew each other before we were actors, because we both grew up in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
So we knew each other before we were actors. And when we became actors, we reconnected and we started doing work together.
Yeah.
And Danny was serious. I was serious. So we did a considerable amount of work in the Bay Area together, and there were other actors who were doing things, and uh, pretty soon, and we're all driving cabs. That's how we made our living.
Wow.
Is driving a cab. It worked really well till I was invited down here to do the same play, the Paul Robeson piece by Philip Dean,
Mhm.
and I never left.
Is that when you got your drive, and is that how the name of the theater came? Or
Well, yeah, he was the inspiration. You know
yeah,
that is. Robey was his athletic nickname. Robey was Paul Robeson's. He and Roland Hayes pretty much brought what was then called darky spiritual music
mm,
to a place where it was taken as serious music,
wow,
folk songs and spirituals. And he toured the world doing that. That's how he really became a citizen of the world, is touring, singing. But he also was an actor. He did The Emperor Jones after Charles Gilpin left that play, and did Othello in England. He traveled with Showboat.
mhm.
You know, old man, oh,
Oh yes, yes.
that became his mantra, his
I
theme song.
think I saw that movie.
Yeah, yeah, well, that was him in it.
Wow.
His wife, Eslanda Cardoza Good, there's a good story about that because she negotiated his salary with MGM and got him more money than any other black artist had ever done. She was a force of nature.
Yeah.
Eslanda was. They called her Essie. She managed Paul's career in the first decade of his career, and managed. She's the one that pointed him to the theater.
Yeah.
Was Essie. And after Emperor Jones, it was all over. He did about 14 films, one with Oscar Micheaux, Body and Soul,
Yeah.
then Travel. And because he could sing, he wasn't limited, to acting as an artist. And of course, he was always the activist because he always spoke out against racism. That's why he left this country when he was traveling with Showboat to England, and he ended up staying in England because he could do Broadway plays here, but he had to go through the back door. Here's a guy who spoke and sang
Mhm.
in 20 plus languages.
Wow.
He
Wow.
was a linguist. And so he literally spoke the indigenous people's language. Go to France, speak and sing in French.
Wow.
German, speak and sing in German. Russian,
That's amazing.
Swahili, all of that.
Yeah.
He did all of that and could do all of that. So people loved him. The world loved him because he literally spoke their language.
Well, now we have the Robey Theater Company, and you are directing the heated discussion
Yes.
with Levy Lee Simon. And it's an original production.
Yeah, we commissioned it.
Oh, wow.
The Robey Commission, I commissioned. Lee and I have had a wonderful professional relationship for 20 plus years. His trilogy of plays entitled For the Love of Freedom, about the Haitian uh, Black slave revolt
Wow.
that was led by Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henri Christophe. He did a trilogy about those three men who rose to lead the only successful slave revolt, black or white, that ended up being a republic.
Mm.
And to this day, Haiti is in bad shape, and that's a whole nother conversation. But it is a republic to this day.
Wow.
And that's because of that revolution. It was 500,000 black slaves on the island and 30,000 French colonists that were running the island at the time. And the enslaved Africans said, ain't doing this anymore.
Wow.
And they ended up fighting the English, the Spanish, of course, the French, each other, mulattoes and black,
Wow.
and finally liberated the island.
Wow.
And so Lee had written a wonderful, and we spent 4 years developing that and doing that trilogy of plays. We also collaborated on the magnificent Dunbar Hotel,
Wow,
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
Dunbar here, on Central Avenue, and one acts that have been part of the Paul Robeson Theater Festival,
Wow.
and finally this play.
Well, tell us more about it, because it's playing now and they can see it Thursday through Saturday at 8 p.m. and on Sunday at 3 o'clock matinee. And the details are right there.
Yeah. It was an idea. It's one of those what if scenarios.
Yeah.
What if these number of iconic Black figures who have given their lives literally and figuratively to fight the good fight for freedom at every level, in every way. What if their spirits were convened and they were asked what they thought, how would they handle what is going on the planet? What was going on the planet is the wanton murders of people of color, mostly Black people here in this country, often, weekly, sometimes daily,
Yes.
by the authorities with impunity.
Mm.
And we all know what's going on because we saw it on television these days.
Yes.
Right? And so that was the question. What would they do? How would they? And so the conversation, this heated conversation, has 16 characters in it, everyone from Martin Luther King to Richard Pryor to Maya Angelou, Ida B. Wells,
Wow.
Nina Simone,
All of the greats.
Malcolm, and it goes on. There's 16, including 3 Orishas, who are African goddesses who convene, make this all happen. And they gather to have this conversation. Well, everybody wants the same thing, right? They're all brothers and sisters who have fought the good fight for freedom. But I suppose Malcolm and Martin are the prime example of conflicting, even though they want the same thing. Malcolm is saying by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Martin is saying peaceful resistance, nonviolent resistance. And Malcolm is saying, no, if somebody's going to pull a gun on me, I'm going to have one. And so there's conflict.
Wow.
Hence the heat in it.
Wow.
And the back and forth that goes on over the couple of hours of the play covers a lot of ground.
Wow.
Covers a lot of ground.
Wow.
It's an ensemble of 16 artists, 16 actors. And most plays are not that large because it's difficult to wield, it's difficult to afford it, and all of that. But you know, us as a people, as a group of artists, most of us have entered into art forms, disciplines, with a certain kind of consciousness that is Black, that is through a Black prism. And we want to speak to that prism because everything else is Eurocentric. And we've been inundated, brainwashed, and held up with that since we were born, basically. Now, this is not to condemn that, but the powers that be are exclusively promoting that for the most part, until a little bit recently. And if you're not careful, that will revert very easily back to the mainstream is a Eurocentric point of view.
Wow.
Our point of view is something else again. Those of us, and most of us, when we get past, I don't know, 15, 18, 20 years old, we start to understand, wait a minute. There's another point of view here. There's a whole nother cultural aspect. There's a whole nother way of thinking about things that is, quote, not necessarily Eurocentric. And we want to approach disciplines and art forms in that fashion. And to develop that. That's what the Robey Theater Company is all about, is to see things, issues through that prism and create an aesthetic around that.
I love it.
That develops through that. And this play is about that. It's, W.E.B. Du Bois said theater should be by us, for us, about us, and near us.
Wow. And now it's playing. A heated discussion Thursday through Saturday at 8 p.m., a 3 o'clock Sunday matinee. All the details are right here. Oh, wow. Mr. Ben Guillory, I just want to say thank you for kicking it with me.
Well, Phil, I appreciate you having me kick it with you. Thank you, sir.
It's a different PhiL featuring Remember Yesterday,
You remember yesterday.
the cool It's Just Like,
The star
the beautiful Summertime Rain,
wash will
a tribute Baba Lee, That's Why, and a special hidden track, Feelin' That, a different PhiL. The acoustic set, available on all music platforms.
The boogeyman has been released. They know what it's called, but they don't know where it is, how people get it, if it's contagious, if it's an aerosol or in the air. What they do know is if you get it, it can kill you.
672. Ring 755 East 80th Street. 755 East 80th Street. 50 miles to a male black was following him. He's dark complected, heavy set, wearing dark clothes.
They did get to kill him. They just left the justice part out.
Everything was taken away with COVID. And just to think, winter is coming.